Welcome back, folks. I am Jon Najarian. Appreciate all of you who joined us yesterday for the webinar. Keep in mind that we did post it up, a link to it. So even if you were not able to attend yesterday, you are still able to get that information. And you can just follow my Twitter account or Pete's or Market Rebellion, and you will likely find a link to yesterday's webinar. So thank you again for all of you who joined us. We appreciate it. This is 3 at 3 for the 22nd of July, 2021. The disclaimer is that you need to understand risks before you take them. And our intellectual property is, let's see, we've got registered marks, we've got trademarks, we've got patents, we've got copyright on virtually everything I'm about to share with you. So please, before you use it, ask us first. Thank you. Square, how did this one work out yesterday, folks? We knew Jack Dorsey would be speaking yesterday. We knew he would be with Cathie Woods and Elon Musk at the B Word conference. That's the name of it. I didn't come up with it, but the Bitcoin conference that's called the B Word. Anyway, Square, symbol SQ, that's Jack Dorsey's company. We cited the unusually heavy activity in the July 250 calls, and stock was 251. Well, today, those calls traded to $10.40 a little bit ago, those 250 calls. As I told you yesterday when it was up $7 and those calls were trading for about $8, I sold 75% of those and rolled up to the 255 calls. Why? Because that way I can still participate, and there was more upside, as you see here. I was able to pay right around, I think about $4 for those yesterday. They went to what, $8.20 today, and I am out. I know it's not over yet, that we have another day, but I would not want to have this wonderful windfall be taken away. Now, if you are still in, what I would do would be I would roll up to the 260s. But I think most of the activity has probably occurred in here. This is not an earnings play. I believe it was a play on Jack's participation in that conference yesterday. And for that reason, you know what they say, buy rumors, sell news. The news is out there. It was Jack did a great job. Cathie and even Elon did a great job, but I am out. Apple, well, this one worked out pretty well too, didn't it? Talked about it 2 days ago when I was on the halftime report and said, Apple, they're buying these 145 calls. I exited nearly all of those, but just to show you, those calls were 127 on the close yesterday as Apple pulled back to about 145. Today, as it runs up, trades up to 329, and I am out. Still in Apple, not in these calls, not in any long calls at the moment. I'm in stock, and I've written calls, as I've told you many times, front week, next week, the next week, the next week. So I've basically ladder 4 weeks into the future. I am today buying back my short calls and rolling them out to what will become the 4th week out on Monday. Bang. DraftKings is our first stock of the day for today's 3 at 3. We saw with the stock at $49 and change that they came in to buy about 5,300 DKNG calls, and we wanted to play right along with them. So the stock is still right about that same area, folks. It's still about, I'm looking at 49.29 right now, near the highs of the day, and like it, but apparently it's not moving too fast to the upside yet. There was a look at it just a little bit ago. Volume about half of a normal full session. So we'll probably be about 75% of a full session by the end of the day today. Keep in mind that just like with winners, with losers, especially in a short time frame like this, these calls expire next Friday. So if you're in these calls and you don't feel that the stock is moving up or moving up fast enough, I would cut my losses. I can't pull the trigger for you. I can tell you that I am still in this trade, and I have written upside calls against the calls that I own. But just like always, I can't trade for you. You guys have to decide, number one, if it's an appropriate amount of risk that you would like to take, and number two, how you would like to take profits and or cut losses. So which calls am I in? I'm in the 149 calls. They're approximately where they were when I bought them. I bought them at 152. That is the offer right now. And I have sold the 50-50 calls for 90 cents or thereabouts against them. So basically, I'm in a $1.50 spread, the differential between 49 and 50.5, $1.50. And I have paid approximately 60 cents for that. So I don't like putting on trades where I only have a 1-to-1 risk versus reward. But in this case, I've paid 60 cents for something that could go to $1.50 next week. And I don't need a huge move in the stock to get there, just needed over 50 a share for me to do that. That's the way I played it. Let's take a look now, folks, shall we, at Morgan Stanley, because MS call buying picked up dramatically today. Somebody stepped up, bought 5,000 of the Augie 105 calls. I followed them in. I was already long calls in Morgan Stanley, but nonetheless, I jumped on this one as well. And Morgan Stanley was 95.67 when we did this trade. They were buying the, now it's a little bit higher, as you see there, 95.75, been up to 96.23 today, which was rather the new 52-week high. You see on the bottom of those two sliding scales there that show you the 52-week range and the daily range. I bought the 95 calls, sold upside calls against it 1-to-1, because that's what I do. Bang. Next, let's take a look at Riot blockchain. Riot had a nice appreciation yesterday. It's pretty flat today. Was up to about 29.23. They bought about 5,000 of these next week expiration July 29 calls, virtually the at the money call. I bought those calls. I intended to sell an upside call against it, but the stock pulled back a little bit. Where is it now? 28.64. Again, I want to emphasize that not every trade is an immediate winner. There are a fair amount that are, and there are a fair amount that you got to use your discipline and say, I'm going to cut my loss. I have not cut my loss in here yet. The loss is not big. As you saw already, the call is next week expiration July 29. So let me pull that one up for you. Those calls, the 29 calls right now are trading $1.68. I show them on the day. Those calls traded up to $2.10. Luckily, I didn't buy it there, but I did pay $1.75. So I'm down a dime right now. If I lose up to half of my capital in this trade, I will lose the whole trade. I will exit the trade. On the other hand, I'm going to give it a little more rope tomorrow and see how it goes. because I still like the upside here. And if we get any kind of a Bitcoin move towards or through 34,000, which could be the next resistance area to the upside, I think this one will move with it. That's my observation. And I will trade aggressively since these options are only 1 week into the future. Questions? Shoot them in, folks. At Jon Najarian on Twitter is my handle. That's at JONNAJARIAN. All right, internet out. Oh no. Well, Squibby 2000, and that's the handle as well, at SQUIBBY 2000. Internet outage. Can we buy puts? I guess. I mean, these days, folks, very few of us have a broker that we talk to. Most of us are trading point and click. So if your internet's out, that is a bad thing in terms of trading. My internet wasn't out all day. I do know how frustrating that can be. However, and I am on the wait list, by the way, for Elon Musk's Starlink, those satellites that provide internet. So no matter where I am in the world, or within the hemispheres that he covers, hopefully I'd be able to get it. So anyway, I guess backup is what I'd suggest. I always have 2 sources for internet, both at home and here. Actually, I guess I technically have 3 because I also have my iPhone, which since it's a Verizon, it's a hotspot. So technically I would have 3 access points to the internet. If all of those are down, I should probably just go to the beach. By the friggin' dip. And this comes by virtue of at WSB, like Wall Street Bets, _ degenerate, DEGENERATE. Clove is exercising their warrants, 11.5 strike on August 23rd. How does this compare with options expiring out of the money if the share price is below 11.50 on warrant execution date? Do they expire worthless, out the money, and therefore no conversion or dilution? Well, those are all pretty good questions from our friend over there at Wall Street Bets by the friggin' dip. Here's the way I would view it. Most warrants, folks, if you exercise them, the company obviously issues you shares, and the company gets cash from you directly, not like when you trade stock in the open market. You could go buy shares of Clover Health right now. Clover gets 0 of that. However, if you exercise a warrant electing to buy shares at 11.50, number one, you'd need to get your head examined because the stock's trading 8.50, 8.53. So no one is going to exercise that option above the market by $3, losing $3 immediately. It'd be an asinine trade. So we'll see where the stock is by August 23rd. If there is a liquid market in these warrants, I imagine some of the people have already sold their warrants to someone else. But I would not anticipate anybody exercising these warrants and thus providing a little more dilution for the stock. Although as they provide, dilution because you've put more shares into the market, nonetheless, the company took in cash at $11.50 per on those exercises. So let's see what happens August 23rd. UU, which I spoke with about uranium stocks, my friend Brian Sullivan this morning on the Worldwide Exchange. UU was down as low as 520. Well, let me see, what was it? 501 this morning. It's back to almost unchanged. CCJ, which is Camco, another uranium play that I cited for him, is actually to the upside again today. And as I pointed out to Brian, these are alternative energy plays. We all know how nuclear gets a bad rap, or many of us think it gets a bad rap. It is, in fact, a very clean energy, but of course, you got to dispose of that nuclear waste at some point. But anyway, those spent rods. I like Camco. I like you, and we've had unusual activity in both over the past 3 days. Thank you. And as always, I want to thank you again. Why? For tuning in. Remember, you can always subscribe on YouTube for free. You can go to YouTube and type in Market Rebellion and bang, there it is. You could be a subscriber to all of the videos that we do, and they are all free. Free, you heard that right. Also, marketrebellion.com/get started will explain to you all of the different offerings that we have. I would encourage you to check that out, whether you need a coach, a mentor, whether you'd like to just go through a tutorial online. We have all of that, as well as webinars, some of which are free. You can go to marketrebellion.com/get started. I'm almost ready to get started with the weekend. I hope wherever you are, it's as great as it is here in Chicago. I'll see you tomorrow, folks.